Hi there, it's Kathy with Be Creative with Kathy, and as promised, I'm going to show you how I make my swap for tonight. So I'm in Kindred Inkers. If you watch my video, you see that once a month I go to a demonstrator meeting and we always take swaps. And what I mean by swaps is we each just bring a card and then everybody takes home each other's cards. So when you get home you have 12 different cards, which is kind of nice and fun because you see new products, new ideas. And the theme of this month's swap, let me grab my catalog here and I'll show you, was to use a template out of the catalog. Now here on page 22, I got the right number and everything, they have all these little templates here. So we're supposed to use one of these templates for our card tonight. And I hope this template right here, there, can you see it? This one here is what inspired me for my card today. So let's go ahead and get started. I was kind of going slow, see if somebody else pops on, but I'll record this and put it onto my YouTube video or YouTube channel. So if you ever watch YouTube, I'll be on there too. So if you miss the part, you can rewatch it here or you can rewatch it on YouTube. We're going to start by doing all the stamping. A list of supplies that I used today and a list of measurements are all on my blog, BeCreativeWithKathy.com. So you can find them there if you miss the measurements, or if by chance, because sometimes I do that, I say the wrong measurements and you think, well, that's not right, Kathy. The right ones are there. Okay, so first of all, I have a thick piece of cardstock here. It's basic white. My cat's hair is everywhere. Anyway, 5.5 by 8.5, and I've scored it down the center at 4 1/4. Now when I make my cards, I like to fold with the bump of the score line on the inside, so I'm laying it flat so I can stamp on it, and I have that bump of the score line on the inside. We're going to use for our sentiment day, this is labeled with love. I have grown to love this stamp set, and I even like the punch to punch this out, so you can buy that as a bundle. It also comes with dies, and you get 3 dies that match this in that bundle too. So if you're more into dies than you are into punches, there's both in this set for you. Okay, so I'm going to start with a little bit of Moody Mauve ink, and I have that happy birthday. I'm going to just mount that on the block here, and I'm going to stamp right here with that Moody Mauve. I'm letting that ink sink in. I'm not applying a lot of pressure. I don't want to smash the stamp, but I want to make sure I get a good image. And there you go. Step 1, all done. And then I'm going to bring in some Pretty Peacock. Now I looked in my color coach, and if you have a color coach, good for you. If you don't, it's a printout, I guess you'd call it, that Stampin' Up! Offers. So talk to your demonstrator and see if you can't get, and you can make your own color coach. But anyway, I went through my color coach and I looked, that's not Moody Mauve. I looked at Moody Mauve, and Pretty Peacock was a color that coordinated with that, and I thought that would be a pretty color for the spruce that we're going to add to the inside of our card. So I'm going to just take these trees here, put that on the block. We're going to ink that up. Now, I'm dying to know if you would put Pretty Peacock with this color combination that we're using today, because I think it's pretty, but I'm not very artsy-fartsy. I'm pretty crafty, but not artsy-fartsy, and I don't see colors like some people do. But there you go. So now we have the trees on the inside with that stamp set. Okay, we're done with that color. Set that aside. I've done a little bit in advance, but let me show you. I need one more set of mountains for my card. So we bring out that mountain stamp here. Put that on a great big old block. And I'm going to ink that up in some wild wheat. And then I just have a scrap of paper here. Now, you saw on my card here, I did 3 mountains like this. I'm only going to take the time and do 1, but so you know, you'd do the other one in the Moody Mauve that we just stamped, and then the last one is Misty Moonlight. So we're going to take this little stamp and I'm going to set that down. Again, I'm going to let that ink sink in, especially because it's such a big image. There. And then looky there, we have a pretty, pretty mountain. Okay, let's get the dies. Here they are. And get ready to cut that out. So out of the dies, which are pretty amazing, especially this one here. Look how pretty this die is. Let me show you a card I made using that die. Like this, I made it into like, I think this is called a bridge fold card, but this is how that die cuts out the center of your cardstock. And then two other dies in the set that I'm not going to use today cut out this mountain. It's like an edge die, and that tree line. So that's pretty cool in that stamp too. Now the deer are from the Grassy Grove. The trees are from, I'm going to use that bundle too. That is Forever Forest. And the little bunny and the little squirrel, that's from this set in the Grove too. So there's a bunch of dies in there. Some we're going to use today, and well, most of them we're not. But it makes wonderful cards. Really cool die set. Okay, let's put that away and get that mountain out that we need to cut this one out. And then another thing we need to die cut, and that is from this die set, Forever Forest dies. I'm going to die cut those three little clouds. So let me find them here. There's one, because there's a bunch of dies in this set too that make, oh, he got stuck under under the glue. Let's see if I can get him out. There we go. I think that In the Grove, Grassy Grove, and Forever Forest should have been one huge die set because they coordinate so well together. I'm going to use a little bit of Post-it tape to hold down my mountain so I can get it on there where I want it and keep it when I put it to die cut. Okay, so move those little stars, line up, and now you'll know it's lined up when you don't see any white around the solid parts of your mountain. And I'm going to just take my time and kind of move it around. It might take a little bit of practice at first. I've cut quite a few of these, so I think, I have it down pat, but that's always famous last words. Okay, we'll hold that there, and then we're going to just set these little clouds up here in the corner. Bring in, I'm going to, of course, use the platform, the adapter plate, a cutting plate. Now, if you don't have one of these Magic Mats, you could also use just another clear cutting plate here. Set my paper on there. And then I'm going to lay my plate on top, bring in our machine. I think my mountain still looks straight, so I should be in good shape. We'll see. Oh, and I put my handle, hang on, I put my handle on the wrong side. Can't run it with my left hand, that would be just wrong. Just because I'm right-handed, makes it faster and easier this way. Alrighty, just like that, we have, I'm going to just throw these in my little magnetic bowl so I don't lose them. Oh, that one has the die, or the paper is stuck in the little die here. Throw that in the bowl too, and that way I won't lose those little clouds, because they are adorable, but they sure are small. Okay, now we have all of our pieces and parts, and like I told you, I went ahead and already cut the mountains from that Moody Mauve, there we go, I lost it for a second, and my Misty Moonlight. See, there's too many colors. I can't remember them all and get them all straight, especially when I'm on camera and a little bit nervous. Okay. So then the other thing we're going to use is a piece of Designer Series paper. Now this is from that Country Woods, and I absolutely love this Designer Series paper. And the first, oh, we got to stamp this too. So the second thing we're going to do is get this ready. We need to stamp a little greeting on there. And I'm going to use this Enjoy Your Day, but this You Are Loved would look really cute, I think, on there too. But I want, yep, Enjoy Today. And I'm going to stamp that in that Moody Mauve too. Because I want to start with my little tag here at the top, and that'll just help me with the placement of my mountains. So hover over the top, make sure we get it where we want it, set it down, take our time, let that ink sink in. so we can get a good image. And then, yeah, there we go. Okay, so now with some dimensionals, I'm gonna just take, well, where are my, there we go. All I could find was mini dimensionals. I want standard dimensionals. And I'm gonna use the straight edge of my standard dimensional up here at the top, because I don't want, when you're trying to get the card in and out of the envelope, or I don't want it to get stuck and be like loosey-goosey. I want it to be straight on my paper, okay? So I'm gonna take that. I like to use the straight edges of the dimensionals a lot so that I can get it close to the edge. And then that way, does that look a little bit crooked, huh? Let's straighten it out. There we go, that looks good. And I guess that's about a 1/2 inch from the side, but that way I know where I wanna place my first mountain. Now the first mountain's gonna go about, I'm guessing a 1/2 inch to an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, right under my greeting, whoop, like this. And I want this corner, I'm gonna just barely snip off the edge of this corner, and like this, and then I wanna just barely tilt it up, because I'd like to see as much of these mountains as I can. So just maybe a hair more, there we go, and tilt it up just a little bit. Then I'm gonna take my non-stick scissors here, because I'm gonna be cutting through some of that glue that I put on there, or that tape. And then we have a start to our card that looks like that. Okay. Then, now normally I put my dimensionals on my card pieces, but in this case, I want to make sure I get my dimensionals close to the edge. So again, using that straight edge of the dimensional, I'm going to line it up right against the edge. So this way I know where my dimensionals are, and when I cut my paper down, I won't be cutting through those dimensionals too. Okay, so I'm gonna lay those across there and then take those backs off. And now with that wild wheat, I'm gonna place this one so it's just about centered. I'm gonna look at the mountains in the back or behind it and make sure I like where they're positioned. But if you take this one and put it about in the center as low as I can, so we see as many of the mountains or as much of the mountains as we can, and place it just like that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut them off again. Now I'm cutting them off each individual because it's a lot easier to cut one at a time than to try to cut through all 3 of those at one time, especially when they're up on dimensionals like that. Okay, now we need our last layer. So again, I'm gonna put my dimensionals on my card base here, or my layer, getting it as close to the edge here as I can, just so we don't have floppy edges of our mountains, I guess is what you'd call it. This one here. Take those backs off again. And now with this mountain, I'm going to put it all the way this way. And I'm barely gonna just put, so we'll snip off the tip of that mountain there. And I'm gonna lay this down so you see as much of those mountains as you can, and try to get it kind of straight this way. And there we go. And look how pretty that is. Let's cut those off again. Now, the only thing I don't like about this card is that this pattern of the designer series paper might be one of my favorites, although I say one of because I probably have several, and it was a bummer, excuse me, sorry about that, to cover up, to put that onto my cardstock, or my card base, and cover it up. Okay, now another thing, normally I would put this onto my cardstock, or my card base, before I bumped it up, because it's easier to put a flat piece of cardstock onto your base. But since I wanted to cut these off and place them all before I put it on, I'm going to do it this way this time, because I think I always tell you, always put your bumps on last. Not in this case, we're going to put our bumps on first. Okay, my basic white that has my stamping ready for me, and we're just going to tape this flat. And set that right there on our card base with a nice little white border. And look how pretty that is. Isn't that beautiful? I really, really like this card. Okay, now with some glue, right? We have those little clouds. Let me get all this out of the way so we have room to work here. And there are 3 different sizes. I'm gonna start with the longest one. And my precision tip glue, although the other glue would work, this one just puts that little tiny strip of glue on there. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to just barely tuck it under my greeting here about where that T is on there. This T here on the today. I'm going to just set him there, try to get him straight. And you noticed, I've noticed the clouds have some embossing on them. Let's see if you can see that. So I kind of made it so it's like fluffy at the top and bumps up. I don't know if that makes sense. And then just a little bit of glue, a little bit over and a little bit down. I'm going to set this one. And then, so this one has just a little bit of pop compared to that one. I'm going to use a glue dot on this one. I think the glue dot is just a little bit thicker than the liquid glue. And this way, when I lay it on top of this one, it has just that tiny little bit of pop that it needs so it looks layered on there. And there you go, just like that. So now I'll take this card to my meeting tonight and I'll swap with everybody. And next Monday, I'll bring out my swaps and I'll show you all the different swaps that I got. And we'll try to figure out which template they go with. Alrighty, that's what I have for you today. Thanks for watching and I'll see you back here next Monday. Bye-bye.